Good evening, all on here. Thanks for joining on here. This is K1DBC. All stations please stand by. The Denver Radio Club Learning Net starts in 5 minutes. Alright, sounds good. I'm going to pre-roll a video here. I think you guys might enjoy. Take a look. Hopefully the audio comes through. If not, I'll have to wait here in a second. Yeah, it's not. Give me a second here. Might need a restart. Hopefully not. Alright, let's see if this works now.
Ellsworth. It's a great honor that I get to speak to you today for Youth on the Air. The reason for that is because ham radio operators have played such a critical role in my life. Ever since I was a young kid, I loved working with technology, anything science, rockets, chemistry, computers, video games, radios. However, I lived in this really small community in rural Oregon where I had very little opportunity to actually get my hands on these pieces of technology. Fortunately for me, there were some ham radio operators in the area that took me under their wing and taught me how to do things like soldering, work with test equipment, work with computers, communicate on radios. And that really set me on a path to do some really exciting things throughout my career and my life. In my teen years, I was very interested in racing cars. And so I went out and I found some other mentors to help teach me how to weld and machine and actually build these big V8 powered cars. But the ham radio operators were always there supporting me. I wanted to add electronics to these cars to make them better, things like telemetry and traction control systems. And so I became quite accomplished, thanks to them, in racing. In my 20s, I decided to open a chain of retail computer stores, and thankfully I had all this experience with working with computers and electronics, but I didn't know how to run a business. So more mentors. I found some folks to teach me how to run a business. And my computer store business was quite successful. In my 30s, I wanted to break into building consumer electronic products. And so I moved to Silicon Valley, started meeting people and getting more mentors and people helping me. Working in technology, you find that there's a lot of ham radio operators, and many of my mentors that have helped me since I moved to Silicon Valley are ham radio operators as well. And so throughout my career doing consumer products, I got to do some really exciting things. Like I got to design
Sorry, I don't know what happened there. I'll go ahead and play this whole video though at the end. It's just a few minutes, so I'll go ahead and get the stream started here. This is K1DBC. The DRC Learning Net will start in 1 minute. All stations please stand by while the repeaters are placed into net mode. having issues with my audio, but I will get this started here. Hey, good evening and welcome back to the Denver Radio Club Learning Net. This is Kilo 1, Delta Bravo Charlie. My name is Daron, and I am at control. This is a casual conversation where we can discuss ham radio and STEM topics in general, and thankfully have plenty of combined experience and expertise. We meet every Wednesday, except the third Wednesday of the month at 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time, on 145.490 and 448.625. Both have a negative offset. 2 meter uses 600 kilohertz and 70 centimeter uses 5 megahertz, meaning you transmit on 144.890 or 448.025 respectively. This net can be broken at any time for emergency or priority traffic by using the word break. Is there any emergency or priority traffic at this time? Net control. We will begin by you can contact us via email at drclearningnet@gmail.com. We also post info at groups.io/g/ham learning net. Bear with me. This is K1DBC. Bear with me for just a minute. I need to get something corrected here with my audio. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. One more moment here and I should be back up. I do apologize about that. Is that still not coming through to you guys? Sorry about this. Give me just a minute here. Yeah, I don't think you can hear the radio, though, unfortunately. Shoot, hold on. There we go. Okay. Okay, I am sorry about that. This is K1DBC Net Control. I think I got things worked out more or less that'll work for now, and I'll figure it out later. So at this time, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll begin by inviting Elmers only to check in with or without traffic. All Elmers, please check in now.
Alpha 0, Juliet Kilo, with traffic. Good evening. Alpha Echo 0, Golf Quebec. Tom, no traffic.
All right, we had AA0JK Fred with traffic and AE0GQ Tom. You may have indicated if you had traffic. Sorry about that, I didn't catch that, but if you did, we'll come back to you here in a bit. Once more, if you'd like to check in as an Elmer with or without traffic, please check in now. No problem. Yeah, I think you had something else. No worries, though. We'll come back. We'll have time. This is K1DBC Net Control. All right, we'll go to general check-ins. Those will be taken in alphabetical groups based on the first letter of the suffix of the operator's call sign. That would be the first letter after the number in your call sign. If you can, please try to use I2 phonetics as you check in and indicate if you have any traffic or questions as you do. If your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo 0, Lima Alpha India, K0 LEI, Larry Lakewood.
Kilo 0, Echo Hotel Romeo, K0 EHR, Mark and Littleton, no traffic.
A6HJV, Kilo 6 Hotel Juliet Victor, Tom Arvada, no traffic.
November 0, Echo Yankee Zulu, Jim in South Jeffco, no traffic.
All right, we'll go ahead and hold that there for just a moment. Net Control acknowledges and welcomes the following check-ins. K0I Larry, K0LAI Larry, K0EHR Mark, K6HJV Tom, and N0EYZ Jim. Thank you all for checking in. Oh, tech issues on the fly. Isn't that fun? All right, calm down now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Once more, if your suffix begins with the letters A through M, Alpha through Mike, please check in now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0, Alpha Whiskey Charlie, Brian, Wheat Ridge, no traffic.
WD0 CIV, WD0 CIV, Charles and Denver, no traffic.
All right, Net Control welcomes and acknowledges the following check-ins. KF0, AWC Brian, and WD0 CIV Charles. Thank you for both checking in. We'll go ahead and up the whole alphabet. If your suffix begins with letters A through Z, Alpha through Zulu, please check in now to the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net with your call sign, name, and let us know if you have any traffic questions. Please call now.
Yankee Echo Sierra, Kid in Broomfield, no traffic.
November 0, Tango Romeo Papa, Jim in Lakewood. Good evening.
Kilo Echo 0, Sierra Uniform Mike, Jonathan, Lakewood, with traffic.
I think him and other people, Tom, have checked in only on here, and I've taken those. I mean, probably not per FCC regulation for a regular net, but if you can't check in online or on the air, more than happy to take people only on the YouTube here. That's fine too. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We'll go ahead and hold up there for just a moment. All right, I'd like to welcome all of the following check-ins: K0YES Ken, N0TRP Jim, and KE0SUM Jonathan with traffic. Thank you all for checking in. I may briefly have mentioned it, but once more, you can always check in online, youtube.com/WEREGR8. If you do a search on YouTube just for W0TX and or my call sign K1DBC, you can also find it there on that. You're more than welcome to check in online at any given time. Though, once more, we'll throw it out to the net. Does anybody have any other further check-ins at the moment? Alpha through Zulu for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net, just for the count. Or if you have any traffic or questions, please call now. And if you want to check on here and you don't have a call sign, you're more than welcome to do that too as well. All right, one more time at the moment. There'll be a few more opportunities throughout the net to check in, but this is the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. We discuss ham radio topics in STEM and a lot of electronics, things like that. We have a lot of experience to share, so if you want to check in at the moment, feel free to do so with your call sign, your name, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now.
W0TX Repeater.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Sorry for tech issues at the beginning there, but I think we got things worked out here for now. So with that, we'll go to, again, I'll take check-ins at a couple periods throughout the net, but if you hear a lull in the conversation, don't hesitate to chime in for if you have any traffic or questions and you haven't checked in yet. So, but with that, though, I'll throw it over to Fred, AA0JK with traffic. The net is yours.
AA0JK. Okay, very good. Yeah, the website, I'm getting audio from last week's session here, Learning Net session, and can't hear you. But anyhow, I digress. We'll go back, get back here to what I wanted to talk about, and that's the August issue. Starting off with the August issue, got our hard copy here at the first of the week, and some items here that kind of caught my eye and hopefully will stimulate some conversation here this evening. And in the past, I have heard about making antennas and getting beer cans to resonate. Well, here's a new one. Here on the front page is a gentleman with a 15-meter coffee can antenna. My, the ingenuity of the ham. Now, there you go. Boy, if you want to get on the air, there's more ways of getting on the air. But anyhow, just from a light note there take a look at the cover there of the new QST magazine. But let's see, we've got some couple items here that I wanted to bring up. And in that new issue, we've got that caught my eye, and that was the MFJ octopus antenna, and they want $119 for the thing. I built one out of a electrical box I purchased down at
Timeout.
There's a timeout. I guess that didn't take it. This is K1DBC Net Control. There was a timeout there. I guess the I didn't hear that with my audio issues. Let me take that off once more here and put it in Net Control. Sorry. Oh, I guess it's gonna be timed out here for. Right. Oh, dang it. That's what happens. Sorry, Fred. And you may not be able to hear me, I guess. YouTube sometimes does a thing where it plays... It does some weird things. You might have to just reload that video and it should work. I'm going to get out of full screen. Good stuff. Fun stuff. Nice to see you there, Peter. N1GUM. Everyone else here. My apologies about that. Fred, let's see if you can't hear me. You might be able to appreciate this, maybe. I broke it, I'll fix it. I think it's 90 seconds. Let's try again here. Is K1DBC Net Control? Nope. So there you go. Fun times as Net Control when you have audio issues and you're trying to do a bunch of stuff at once. And I was trying to use some Bluetooth headphones and they kept cutting.
A0JK.
Oh, there he comes.
And yeah, Ask Dave is on page 50. He's got some good
Oh, hopefully he wasn't talking that whole time.
tips there. And also, we acquired here today a issue of the American Radio League's The Care and Feeding of Transmission Lines. Some very good basics there for folks setting up, installing, fabricating antennas. And you're going to find most of your SWR issues are in the feed line, not in the antenna. For Pete's sakes, don't listen to people who say they trim their antennas by what's their term, pruning. Oh my, those are the flower people. You don't prune antennas. And if you want to get a good idea of how to properly set up your antenna, take a look at K1AGE's website, where he fabricates a 10-meter antenna, and all the basics are there, folks. You don't need to cut any wire. Just slide your insulators in and out for the proper length that you want to, for the band that you want to operate on, and leave the dikes and wire cutters in the toolbox. And speaking of setting up your 10-meter antenna, 10 meters seems to be pretty good here lately. You might find some action down there. And that only takes about 17 feet of wire for a halfway wavelength, and if you want to go just to a quarter wavelength, 8.5 feet. I mean, that's not much real estate there to put that up. And if you're doing 20 meters, that's going to be a
timeout.
This is why. It did. It did. Okay. Hopefully when we come back again, I can take that off.
do I detect timeout?
Yes, this is K1DBC Net Control. Sorry, it did timeout once before as well. Let me take that out. I guess during the confusion when I started the net, it didn't. It wasn't taken off in net mode. So let me do that here for a moment. Sorry about that.
PL off.
There we go. Okay. All right, sorry, this is K1DBC Net Control, A0JK Fred. So it had timed out. You were just after you were talking about the ham ingenuity on the front page there of QST of the August magazine. It cut out, and then we picked up around K7AGE, or the care and feeding and transmission lines. As far as the YouTube, if you refresh the page, it should hopefully come up, and you should see the video, and or the audio should be for the newest one. So go ahead, A0JK, if you want to try once more. Sorry about that.
Okay, I talked quite a bit there. It sounds like a lot of it didn't make it down the wire. But anyhow, just to recap the August issue here, the items here I wanted to bring up was the four-band octopus antenna that's shown on page 119. They went over $100 for it, and I fabricated one out of an electrical junction box and two mobile antennas there for each band, and didn't come anywhere near close to that expense. So would that be a topic we might bring up later. And also the page 103, the noise canceling MFJ 1026. Those having noise issues might take a look at that to cure their problems, and along with loop antennas. And Ask Dave, he's on page 50 as his first column. Got a great one there for curing problems with your bowfang, entering your frequency into your bowfangs. So also, let's see, I touched on the Diamond BB7V as in Victor, Bravo 7 Victor Diamond telescoping antenna, getting a lot of great feedback from that for you that are in got limited space. This is an excellent antenna. You can just put it up quick, take it down quick, and not have to worry about your antenna restrictions. And also, I just wanted to touch base. You've got the K7AGE you had brought up there. See how simple it is to make a 10-meter antenna. Only takes about 17 feet of wire, and very simple to fabricate. Just watch K7AGE's webpage there. And anyhow, I hope I recovered it all there.
BW and data.
AA0JK. There he is.
Five. Now between 28.0 and 28.3 is CW and data and beacons, and the data part can be PSK31.
All right, sounds good. Sorry about that with the timeout. But yeah, we got all that information there from all the QST updates in the recent magazine articles, as well as the care and feeding of transmission lines and KE0OG and what he was speaking about, and as well as K7AGE in the 10-meter dipole. So yeah, sorry about that, but thanks again for the follow-up on that. So yeah, again, great people in the industry. K7AGE, Kilo 7 Alpha Golf Echo, has a really good archive of videos on YouTube, and has a good extensive knowledge. Also as well, KE0OG, Dave Kassler, another extensive amount of videos online, and has a lot of information to provide. So always great resource to check out, and information is provided fairly clearly. So yeah, thank you for that, Fred A0JK. with that, I'll throw it out to the net. Does anybody have any comments, questions in regards to what Fred had brought up so far in regards to the octopus antenna, some of the dipoles, 10 meters, anything so far? Go ahead.
Information overload.
Yes. That's okay. No problem. Absolutely. Yeah, a lot of information here. You take in what you can at the moments you can, and one day little things will start to click, and eventually over time, a lot of these concepts, a lot of things we're speaking about, just start to kind of make sense and just become secondhand knowledge. So, yeah, thanks again there, Fred.
Yeah, I've got some comments here for the feed line book I just got also, when we get a minute.
Thanks there, Tom. Yeah, absolutely. I'll get them checked in here. Thank you. Sure. Yeah, if at the moment you want to go ahead on that, you can. Otherwise, I can call for more check-ins. But if you want, go ahead. A0JK Fred. This is K1DVC.
Okay, the book that I just recently got from the ARRL, The Care and Feeding of Transmission Lines, Feeding Your Antenna. You're going to find that most of your issues there with SWR is in your feed line, not your antenna. I cringe every time somebody says they pruned their antenna to get a lower SWR. That is so wrong, so wrong. If you want to prune, go start a rose garden, go to flowers. But this latest issue's got some great basics here. That if you're putting up an antenna or want to fabricate one, let's see, they've got what description of what transmission lines are, the types of transmission lines. They go into detail on coax and the twin leads, your balanced and unbalanced transmission lines, and how to work with these different combinations to feed your antenna, and also the connectors and what have you that are available for hooking up your antenna, your feed line to your antenna and to your rig. But a very good book here on the basics of feed lines and feeding your antenna transmission lines here. AA0JK, back to net control.
All right, great follow-up there, AJ Fred. Yeah, transmission line is getting relatively cheaper and inexpensive, but it is still a cost, and we want to make sure that we are getting the full life out of our equipment, and even the coaxial cable copper line that we use. We want to make sure that we transmit over it correctly, and that we use it correctly, and take care of it correctly. So. Yeah, great book here, Care and Feeding of Transmission Lines by Joel Hallis, W1ZR, Whiskey 1 Zulu Romeo, excuse me, item number 4784. Really good book here, yeah. All right. At the moment, actually, there was a couple of check-ins I missed online here. I'd like to welcome the following check-ins: KF0 Golf Alpha Hotel GAH Philip, N1GUM Peter, and KF0 AFQ Troy. Thank you all for checking in. Sorry if I may have missed that during when I was having audio issues earlier. But at the moment, actually, I'll take further check-ins to the net. If you've just tuned in, my name is Daron. Call sign is Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. Net control for the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net. It's a place where we can discuss STEM and STEAM topics, electronics, ham radio, and thankfully we have plenty of combined expertise and experience. So if you'd like to check in at the moment, you can check it. If you want to check in online, whether you're licensed or not, you're more than welcome to do it at any time. But over the air, feel free to check in. We're taking all call signs, call suffixes A through Z. Please check in now with your name, call sign, and let us know if you have any traffic or questions.
N0QOK for check-in.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Golf Alpha Hotel, Philip and Aurora. I checked in online because I wasn't able to broadcast out. I'm trying to see if I'm getting out to the repeater now.
You are now, Philip. Yeah, I get you checked in here. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We had, I believe it was November 0 Quebec, Oscar Papa, and I think the name of John. I may have gotten that wrong. Can you confirm that November 0 call? All right, I believe that's what it was. It is a good call sign here in the Denver area, so I think that's what it is. So I got you checked in, John. There was another person there. It may have been, you know, I don't know. I had Kilo Foxtrot 0 Bravo Golf something. I also had Kilo Foxtrot 0 Golf Alpha Hotel Philip check in. Yeah, loud and clear this time. Got you checked in over the air. Just by the hair of the skin there. I think I got that one. We'll see. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I think that was Kilo Foxtrot 0 Echo Uniform Golf. Daniel, it's pretty scratchy, but I got you in there.
Thank you. You got it correct. Thank you. 73.
All right, sounds good. All right, once more, this is K1DBC Net Control. If you'd like to check into the Denver Radio Club Ham Learning Net over the air, please feel free to do so with your call sign name and let us know if you have any traffic or questions. Please call now.
Kilo Foxtrot 0 Golf Delta Juliet. This is Steve.
All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Steve, KF0 Golf Delta Juliet. Got you checked in. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you for the response. 7-3. Kilo Bravo 6 LAB. This is Lee.
I don't know if I have dyslexia, but man, dealing with all these letters and numbers, it may give you it, I think. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, Lee. Perfect. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Kilo Bravo 6, Lima Alpha Bravo, LAB. Lee, I got you checked in.
Thank you. Kilo Bravo 6 LAB 73.
All right, sounds good. No problem. This is K1DBC Net Control. Again, you're more than welcome to check out the YouTube stream that we have going on. If you search for YouTube on YouTube for our club call sign Whiskey 0 Tango X-Ray W0TX, you should be able to find it. Not a problem. You can also search by my call sign K1DBC Kilo 1 Delta Bravo Charlie. Again, that's W0TX or K1DBC. If you miss a net, a meeting, you're more than welcome to check things out there. If you can't check in over the air, you can hang out there as well. With that, though, one more call at the moment. Any other further check-ins at the moment, please call now. Okay, with that, again, thanks everyone for bearing with technical issues to begin with, but we'll throw it over to Jonathan, KE0 s.t.e.m with traffic. The net is yours. Go ahead.
Good evening, Drone of the Net. Drone, do you mind if I give a quick plug for an upcoming hidden transmitter hut?
No problem. Absolutely. Go right ahead.
There's a hidden transmitter hunt coming up on August 1st, and we all started doing this. It's a very casual group, but we started doing it back in December. But one of the things I like, since this is like ham learning net, all you need is an HT and a tape measure directional antenna you can build for less than $20. And you go out and try to find the transmitter, and at the end, we all get around and hang out and talk to each other. It's just a great thing to do. It's inexpensive. I'd been looking forward to doing them ever since I became a technician 3 years ago. But so I'm just giving a plug. It's August 1st. It runs from 9 to 1. This time, it moves all over the town, but you're given the area that you compete in. Let me reset. So this time I know it's basically in the Longmont area, but a lot of times it's about 10 by 10 square miles, so 100 square miles that you're covering. And it's just a lot of fun, can be a lot of challenge, and I think it's great for new hams or just anybody. So I'm just giving a plug. If anybody needs more information, email me at QRZ, or our kind of leader at the moment is N0CFM. His name is Robert, and it's N0CFM@AOL.com. Just put in Fox Hunt or Transmitter Hunt, and he'd get back with you. Thanks, Drone. KE0 s.t.e.m. Back to net.
All right, sounds good there, Jonathan. KE0 s.t.e.m for the plug-in there for Fox Hunt going on here, Longmont, August 1st, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Yeah, just looking up some photos of amateur radio direction finding, ham radio Fox Hunts. It's good training for finding like avalanche victims and public safety, things like that. But it's also just an incredible amount of fun, just a lot of land navigation skills combined with electronics and radios and bonding, so it's just an incredible amount of fun. So yeah, again, you can find more info November 0CFM N0CFM@AOL.com. You can also contact Jonathan KE0 s.t.e.m at his email on his QRZ as well. So yeah, it's been going on for quite a while now, and I'd love to, if you guys can, or if you post some photos or audio of that somewhere, let us know, because I'd love to kind of see what that's kind of like. And I guess I just need to get out there and do it to see it. But yeah, very, very cool stuff here, Jonathan. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, yeah, just to quickly recap what Jonathan had brought up there, a fox hunt. colloquially term now known as amateur radio direction finding. It's basically using a transceiver to it's hide and go seek with radios. Essentially, somebody puts a transmitter somewhere, and then you have to use your land navigation skills, whether it be through GPS, whatnot, but also through radios to try to triangulate and find that radio signal. Again, this has come out of the need for people to find, like, again, avalanche victims or any with personal beacons, things like that. There's a lot of use in public safety, but again, it's just like a lot of things. It's gone into a sport and involves quite a lot of expertise and a bit of skill. So, yeah, hide and go seek with radios. Good skill with the scouts, Boys and Girl Scouts, and lots of stuff. So I'll throw it back out to the net or Jonathan. Does anybody have any other follow-up on fox hunting or radio direction finding? Go ahead.
W0TX repeater.
I'll do a real quick follow-up. You make it sound more challenging. I thought it would be maybe difficult, but with a good little tape measure antenna and a nice HT, watching your signal, you basically, you're just using a Yagi to find where the transmitter is. The first transmitter, the Fox, is usually done at 1 watt, and then the micro Fox hidden close to the Fox is 1500 milliwatts. And when you get really close, sometimes you'll hear both of them. Then you know you're kind of on top of it. But it's not as hard as you think. KE0 SUM.
All right, sounds good there, Jonathan. I find myself saying that to other people sometimes in different scenarios, and you know what, with a different perspective and, you know, just some hands-on experience, you know, it's probably not too bad. So thank you for that follow-up there. I'll definitely need to, you know, August 1st, it's some time away. We got a couple of weeks here, so I might try to sign up myself here. So again, N0CFM and at AOL.com and or via Jonathan. So once more, out to the net. Anyone have any questions on radio direction finding, fox hunts, anything like that? Go ahead. All right, sounds good. This is K1DBC Net Control. I don't see anybody else indicated they have any other traffic or questions at the moment. We have another 15, 20 minutes or so. There's no hard stop here, but again, if you have any comments, questions, check-ins for our net, we're taking all check-ins, all comments. Anybody have any other comments, questions, check-ins, anything else for the net so far? Please call now.
Comment A0GQ.
Yeah, easier GQ. Tom, go ahead.
Since we had a book recommendation, I have one, if you like to design or build circuits, and it's called The Art of Electronics. The authors are Horowitz and Hill, 3rd edition. It's a little pricey, but and it technically is a textbook, but it still gives you a tremendous amount of information just as a resource for the things that you forget. So I toss that out as a recommendation.
AE0GQ, Tom, that's an incredible recommendation, absolutely. The Basics of Electronics, this is a really well-recommended book, The Art of Electronics by Horowitz and Hill. A bit expensive in paper version, but it is an incredible resource to have. First published 1980 and updated into 89 in 2015. It covers many areas of circuit design from basic DC voltage, current resistance to active filters, oscillators, digital electronics, including microprocessors, digital bus. And again, this was 30, 40, 50 years ago. So it includes, not that long ago, it includes discussions of such often neglected areas of high-frequency, high-speed design techniques and power applications. So incredible reference to have the Art of Electronics, Paul Horowitz and Winfield Hill.
Plus, it keeps you honest. That way you don't forget the stupid little clamping diodes on the 7812, 7912 linear power supply that you just built. So that's a good thing to remember. Thank you very much. Back to the net, A0GQ.
JK.
All right, sounds good there, A0GQ. A0JK, Fred, go ahead.
Yeah, and when you start playing with those circuits, it's nice to have a breadboard for your experimentation, which brought to mind here that I believe it's page 5 of this latest issue of QST. They've got a pretty snazzy breadboard for learning and building Arduino projects, circuits and projects. So for the beginner or for the pro, that looks like a beautiful unit there for learning to work with Arduinos. And boy, there's just a gazillion different applications that can be built with this little device. And if anybody out there has got any experience with this, we'd love to hear from you. AA0JK, back to net control.
All right, sounds good there. A0JK Fred for latest QST, page 5 there for some Arduino information. Yeah, it like we've spoken about, it is an incredible. Oh yeah, Dr. Arduino there. Yeah, thanks there, Tom, as well. I think we've somebody's spoken about this before. Yeah, really good breadboard layout. Gives you a lot of pins, buttons, and LEDs, and anything you want to do to be able to kind of get into introduction or production for Arduino software creation and hardware. So this would be C# or C++, I forget, and then just the electronics. So yeah, Arduino is based on the Atmel AVR, and we see those in quite a lot of consumer electronics and electronics that we use nowadays. So yeah, Dr. Arduino, a lot of cool things there. Yeah, and the ESP32, if you want to get into any Wi-Fi, that's another really cool tool to get into as well. So yeah, good information there, Tom, or Fred and Tom, A0JK and A0GQ. So many things.
Yet another comment, A0GQ.
Yeah, A0GQ, go ahead.
I believe it's still in the ARRL inventory, but Popeil can never remember his name. He's on one of the YouTube channels, I think with like W5KUB or one of those. Anyhow, he has 3 books out on Arduino projects for the ham. So I think you'll find all of those on the ARRL site, and they're somewhat interesting things.
Right, thanks there, Tom. Yeah, it looks like KW5GP, Glenn Popeil. Is that of the... Oh, no, that's Ron Popeil. I'm too young to even know that. So, yeah, good information there, Tom, A0GQ. Information on ham radio and Arduino. Incredible overlaps between RF engineering, electrical engineering, computer science, which is the software. So... there's a lot of examples, what they call sketches. There's a lot of the world of software is getting really a lot easier for people to get into. So really, really cool stuff here. Thank you.
S.t.e.m. question?
Yeah, K0 S.t.e.m. Jonathan, go ahead.
No, I am watching you on YouTube also, but the Arduinos interest me because how do you guys use them in ham radio? I'm computer literate extremely, but I don't know how you're doing the interface, and I guess my general question is, are they fun and useful? KE0SUM.
JK.
W0TX repeater.
Great question there, S.t.e.m. What's the practical application? Fred, A0JK, go ahead.
Can we get K0LAI to come up and give us some insight in some of the projects and some of the ins and outs of some of the projects that he has had along those lines? Larry, are you with us? A0JK.
This is K0LAI. I have picked up a couple books on using Arduino for ham radio projects, and I've looked at them, but I have not tried anything. The only thing I've used the Arduino for was to do some electronics projects related to petroleum engineering and geology, and I used a Raspberry Pi to program the Arduino, and you program it in C, basically, and whatever program you put in it stays in it until you change it. That's about all I know at this point. But there are some books on how to use the Arduino for ham radio things, and it looks pretty interesting. It's well designed for repeatable things that you have it run to do. Anyway, that's all I got. Sorry I don't have more. This is K0LEI, back to net.
GQ.
Thank you there, K0LAI, Larry, for the follow-up there. Yeah, there's a lot you can do with the Arduino. I'll try to follow up a little bit more here, but A0GQ, Fred, go ahead. All right, Tom, excuse me.
Don't confuse us. We won't know which one is supposed to talk. Jonathan, Arduinos are microcontrollers. They're single-core devices. They run the same program repeatedly. They have a loop on them, and so it just keeps running it over and over and over again until you reboot it, in which case it does its initialization and then starts running the same program again. You'll find a lot of uses of things like in the books that you see for ham radio in particular, for things like rotor controllers, or one that was kind of fun, pointed a solar cell to the sun. It would follow the sun as the sun moved across the sky for portable use. So it used an Arduino to run a couple steppers to keep the solar cell pointed the right way. Going to let it drop a moment. There's some other goodies, other processors that can use the same programming interface. And by the way, probably the easiest one out there to use is put out by the Arduino group. It's freeware, although they kind of like to have a little chunk of money tossed their way, like $5 or something, which you ought to do to help continue to support it. But it will do not only Arduinos, but like the ESP32s, and there's some others. The nice thing about the ESP32s, for example, is they're 2 cores, so they can actually run 2 programs at the same time. Most of the stuff out there is running C++, although it looks just like C. And but there are some. There's MicroPython is one of the biggies that people are starting to push. Having learned too many languages in my lifetime, I haven't done a lot of Python. Besides that, I don't trust anything where white space is significant. So it's a lot of fun, but it's more control. And that would be my suggestion to you, sir. AE0GQ, back to net.
Drone, I'll break in real quick here. One other question then. How hard did you find it to learn the C++? I don't think I've learned a language since BASIC. KE0SUM.
Jerome, if I may.
Yes, I'm good.
first off, you really don't have to learn C++ because all the object stuff's actually kind of hidden. Really, you're using C. The only C++ stuff you'll see in there, quote, C++, is some of the, like, strings, which is a very simple thing. Jonathan, as long as you remember to type, that is to specify what kind of variable, and you can see on the screen since you're looking there, there's integers and floats and so on. As long as you remember to do that, and something very similar, and don't ever think that there's such a thing as a go-to, you wouldn't have any trouble. It's very simple to do.
And thank you for that feedback. KU0SUM, back to you, Drone.
One last thing, there are thousands of sensors out there of every kind you can imagine, and there are pre-written libraries you can just include, so you don't have to know how they work for sure. And they all have, for example, there's one that's a very nice little ultrasonic distance sensor. I believe it runs I2C protocol. And the nice thing is you don't have to know about any of that. It just takes 4 wires to hook up and a few lines of code, and you have something that will tell you how far something is from a few centimeters to, 25 feet. A0GQ back to net.
All right, sounds good there, everyone. K0SUM and A0GQ Tom. Yeah, Arduino's very, very powerful. Yeah, essentially they're very similar to computers. The difference between, like, a Raspberry Pi is essentially a computer. You can run an operating system, an actual operating system on it. Whereas a Raspberry Pi, it's very application specific. It's rewritable. But yeah, some of the basic things are blink an LED. Use a knob to go back and forth, to rotate. It's kind of a lot of basics. Read in analog voltage, but it's once you can kind of combine all of these things together, there's definitely a lot of applications. Yeah, some of the earlier projects is like running multiple LEDs, addressing multiple LEDs on a breadboard. There's a dice game where you can push the button and it'll roll a dice. Yeah, a lot of sensors, an incredible amount you can do. And again, these things are through breadboarding. It's very good for project based, but if you want to get into circuit design and electronics professionally, you can break these out into much smaller things. So. And A0GQ mentions a lot of 3D printers are running Arduino or variants of that. So it's Atmel is in a lot of things, and we've all kind of had experience with Arduinos in the past, whether from a consumer or user or whatnot experience. So yeah, very, very cool conversation here.
LAI.
Yeah, K0LAI. Larry, go ahead.
I was just going to mention the kit that I bought for the Arduino. It's called the Most Complete Starter Kit Mega 2560 Project by Elegoo. And you can get it online at Amazon. You can also buy it locally at Micro Center. They sell it as well. It's got everything you need to learn how to use the Arduino. The only thing it doesn't have a computer. You have to hook the computer up to program the Arduino, and it can be a Mac, a PC, or a Raspberry Pi. I just did the Raspberry Pi just for the heck of it, to be able to practice with that at the same time.
W0TX repeater.
Great recommendation there. Yeah, absolutely. As we've kind of spoken about in the past, in some of our childhoods, we've had these 101 electronics kits, things like that. And so this is kind of the equivalent nowadays. This comes with an incredible amount of components and resources, a bunch of LEDs, resistors, transistors, push buttons, rotary buttons, different sensors and remotes, and a bunch of things. So this would be a really good kit to get started with. Over 200 components, Arduino, lots of things going on here. Thanks there for that, Larry.
Yeah, but it's sold out, Jerome. Thanks, Larry. Appreciate the tip.
LEI.
That one does say sold out, but I'm looking at. Yeah, K0 LEI, Larry, go ahead.
K0 LEI. One other tip is YouTube. Paul McWhorter, TopTechBoy.com, has Arduino series that he does, and that's what I followed and did his projects as we went along and learned how to use it. He's a pretty good instructor. He was a high school teacher in Lubbock, Texas, and he's a really good teacher, and I've been following him for Arduino, followed him for Raspberry Pi, and I'm also following him right now for Python. So he's a pretty good teacher. K0 LEI, back to net.
All right, K0LI, this is K1DBC, a great resource there. Paul McWhorter. Yeah, a lot of Arduino tutorials and introductions and basics of it. Yeah, so, as you mentioned, s.t.e.m, the fox hunts aren't too bad, and I would agree with the same thing on this. A lot of electronics and some of this has become fairly easy for people to get into. You're not going to be engineering higher level projects or whatnot, but we're just playing around with basic electronics and just experimenting and trying things. So yeah, don't ever hesitate to try these things. You can get them at Micro Center here locally and online. These things are really commodity items. So yeah, don't ever hesitate to just try something. This is K1DBC Net Control.
EHR comment.
Yeah, EHR, Mark, go ahead.
K0 EHR. Great conversation, by the way, guys. I am a huge fan of Arduinos and Raspberry Pis. I actually haven't done anything with ham radio with the Arduinos, but I've done a ton of stuff with Halloween props. I'm a big Halloween decorator type of guy. And one of the things I've found over the years is that the Arduinos are great I/O devices. If you need to get data in, convert it from digital to analog or back and forth, it's awesome. But like whoever it was said earlier, mentioned, it's great, it's easy to program because it's C, but it's kind of very simplistic. It just sort of does one task and does it well and does it really fast. And what I found is that Raspberry Pis are really a nice complement to the Arduinos because the Raspberry Pi runs Linux, it's a real operating system. You can put a real-time clock on it, all kinds of, it has great connectivity, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and so on. So actually, I've had great success with using a Raspberry Pi to do things like the user interface and the connectivity, and then connecting it just over a simple serial connection to an Arduino, and have the Arduino doing the heavy lifting on the I/O side. So anyway, I could talk for hours about this, but just thought I'd throw that out there. K0HR, back to net.
All right, EHR. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Halloween events, those are really good, simple projects to try to get into. Moving a doll, just some basic servo sensors or servos and maybe a light or two. That's a really good project to get into. I'd have to bring it up. I think Spark Fun, based here locally, maybe did the project last year, having people bring in those things. But yeah, things like that, fireworks displays. There's, as you mentioned, it's basically a device that's very specific to one thing and can run it really well and doesn't require a lot of resources. So Arduinos have been around 5-10 years now. Things like Raspberry Pis are kind of the the extension of that a little bit. Arduinos are what's known as, development board, I think is mentioned in the past. And they're development boards for different circuits. So Atmel or Atmega chips or Broadcom chips for Raspberry Pi or others for other manufacturers. It's just a way for developers to try to develop their products, but it's given way for hobbyists, students, anyone who wants to get into electronics to be able to play around with things that we haven't been able to in the past. So yeah, Arduino, Raspberry Pi, Linux, get into all of it, try to get some hands-on, and it definitely wouldn't hurt. So great conversation here again. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, no hard stop, but we've passed the end of the meeting here. But again, no hard stop. I do have a little bit more I can pass here, some follow up on last week. But at the moment, does anybody have any other comments, questions so far? Anything you want to bring up, or any other check-ins? Please call now.
GQ?
Yeah, AZ or GQ, go ahead.
Not that you would necessarily design it, but for example, the QRP Labs clock uses an Arduino for both the clock, because it's got a real-time clock in it, and a GPS connection, which uses a GPS module that puts out the NREA, I think is the name of it. It's a serial data format, and it's also what drives the LCD. QRP Labs has some other stuff like that. I believe also I think it's that little HF radio that's coming out of India that's a kit. I think is using an Arduino to control the analog device synthesizers for the transmit and receive side of the thing. So there's lots of things like that if you really want to get crazy, you should do. AU0GQ back to net.
Great follow-up there. Yeah, again, we're talking about electrical engineering, computer science. So the QRP kit's transceiver is probably based on the Atmel. It doesn't look exactly like an Arduino, but it's using the Arduino processor, and it uses the exact same type of programming. So it's not just in the same form factor of what you would see of an Arduino, but yeah, really a lot of cool stuff there. I am blanking on what I want to bring up here, but yeah, I'll throw it back out in the net. Anyone else? Any other comments, questions so far? Any other check-ins? Go ahead. I was going to talk about the 555 timer, but I'm not able to do that. Not even know. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I guess real quick, I will follow up on some things I had passed last week. Throw it back out to the net, and we'll see if there's anything else, and we'll wrap things up. So this is K1DBC Net Control. I will drop for a moment and have a follow-up from last week here real quick. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. We've been playing a game called What's That Sound? And I might run out of things soon, but I'll find something else to play, and we'll try to decipher the audio. But for now, we're doing amateur radio audio, and audio signals that are capable of being used over amateur radio. So I will play the same sound that I played last week and reveal what it is. So I'll drop once more here. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. I'll go ahead and pass the audio of what that sound was last week, and then we'll go ahead and reveal what it was. All right, once more, if anybody wants to throw out any last-minute guesses of what that might be, let me know. Again, there's no prizes. It's just for the fun of it. If anybody has any other guesses on that, go ahead.
Well, it has an interesting high pitch and good frequency, repetitiveness, so I have no idea. KE0 issue.
Given all those, I have no idea. No, I did say I forgot. All right, one last chance, and I'll go ahead and reveal it here in a moment. Sorry, there was a caller in there. I didn't get your call sign. It was pretty scratchy. I don't know if that was who that may have been. Maybe it was Philip. If you want to try again, go ahead. Sorry. I should have told him his audio wasn't good. Sorry about that. This is K1DBC Net Control. I didn't get anything on that first one nor that second one. I'm sorry about that. It's pretty scratchy transmission. I really cannot hear you. If you want to try once more, go ahead. Sorry about that. Check for a signal report. If anybody caught anything, let me know. I am really sorry about that. I can't catch any of that. It's a really not a good signal. I really can't hear it very, very well. I apologize. I really didn't get anything on that.
Here. Is that slow scan of some type?
That is a good guess. With that, I'll probably reveal it. Let me drop here for a moment. That is WeFax. I'd like to give it to Tom and Charles there. Yeah, it is. It's actually a variant of slow scan television, also known as APT, automatic picture transmission. So WeFax is an HF fax, radio fax, slow scan analog image transmission mode used for the transmission of press images, weather charts, newspapers, and meteorological reports. Again, yeah, AZ or GQ. Yeah, he had followed up last week. That was the guess that he had. Yeah, he originally stated it was slow scan, but it is definitely not as harsh as that. We've spoken about slow scan in the past and receiving images from like the International Space Station or NOAA satellites. But this is using is a derivative of that for the from the polar satellites of the U.S. Different speeds, 60 to 100 or 240 lines per minute, IOC index of cooperation modes, weather forecasts, and so yeah, put on by Kyoto News, a Japanese newspaper. I still believe still transmits these faxes, and let me see if I can bring up an actual image of one here. All right, so yeah, we're looking at it. I think I don't know. I don't know if it's in the waterfall. No, it's not in the waterfall, but it's basically using different methods of demodulation. You can get weather maps, meteorological maps, things for land navigation or maritime navigation, things like that. So that is WeFax. I'll play it once more here for us. Sorry, a lot of audio things going on here on my side. So, very, very cool. Given that it's fairly late and I don't have one at the moment, you know what? I do have one. Let me see if I can bring it up. Again, we're not going to discuss this too much this evening, but I'll play one for next week. So, one more time, I'll play a sound. Next week, we'll discuss what it was. It will be during the Elmers session, and then again we can follow up on the next Learning Net after that. So I'll play another audio clip here. This one is a little bit different. It's electronics related, but it is not ham radio, but it is something you may have heard of. So I'll play a sound here, and we'll discuss it next week.
So right now it's inverting the matrix.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll play it once more here, and if you missed it, there's much better audio on the stream. I apologize about that. Once more, I'll play that, and we'll discuss it next week. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Look forward to hearing what you think that might be. Feel free to put any comments on the Learning Net, groups.io, or on YouTube, and we'll discuss it during the Elmers session next week. I know this night's running a little bit long here, but I'll throw it once more out to the net. Does anybody have any other further comments, questions, check-ins, anything else you'd like to bring up for the net? Please call now.
W0TX Repeater.
All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. I'll probably start to wrap things up here. If you did catch the first couple minutes, I was starting to play a video by Jerry Ellsworth, AI6TK. She is a ham radio operator and speaking about a lot about what we're speaking about so far. She recently spoke to the Youth on the Air 2021 conference. A 3-minute video. So here, I'll play it again at the end of the net after we close out of things. So if you want to catch that, feel free to do so. With that, though, one final call. Any other comments, or not? We'll have one other call, but one other call at the moment. Any other comments, questions, check-ins? Please call now. All right, this is K1 DBC Net Control. Cover some club business here. July 21st. This will be next week. Next Wednesday, 7 p.m., we're going to have our club meeting, Kit Building Techniques for Success, brought on by Joe, K0NEB. Very on topic of what we're speaking about now. Arduino, ham radio, Raspberry Pis, basic electronics. He's going to be giving a presentation on kit building techniques for success. He'll go over how to handle and sort parts proper solder and soldering tools, and take a look at some kits that are appropriate for beginners, intermediate builders, and experienced builders. He's current kit building author for CQ Magazine and has produced the column for 12 years. He's also the current author of the Construction Techniques chapter in the annual ARRL Handbook since the 2014 edition. He's been licensed in 1969 as a life member. So this would be a lot of fun. If you had any interest in what we were speaking about this evening, this will be right on topic. So again, this takes place on Google Hangouts. If you check that link out on our W0TX .org webpage. You do not need to be a ham radio operator, and you don't need to be in the Denver area. So feel free to come check that out. 7 p.m. Mountain Time. 1 hour prior at 6 p.m. we have an Elmers session, which is very similar to this, just a general Q&A, show and tell, whatever you like it to be. So join us. Again, we'll discuss at that point the noise, that sound that I had just played, and much more. With that, I will drop and do one final call. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. If there are any other comments, questions, or check-ins for the Learning Net, please call now. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. If you wish to contact the Learning Net with topic suggestions or to set a date to act as Net Control operator or guest Elmer, you may do so via email at any time at drclearningnet@gmail.com. We're also on groups.io/g/ham-learningnet and on YouTube if you look for W0TX or my call sign K1DBC. We archive our nets, our meetings, so if you can't make this net or the Elmers session or the meeting next week, you can check for an archive shortly after that. And it is live streamed as well. We had a total of 20 people checking in tonight. We'd like to thank everyone who participated. Thank you for checking in online, on the air. We especially appreciate and thank our Elmers. Thanks to the Denver Radio Club for allowing us to use their repeaters for this net. Again, you can join us on the third Wednesday of the month at 6 p.m. for an Elmers session prior to the regularly scheduled meeting at 7 p.m. Online at W0TX.org for more info. All right, this is K1DBC Net Control. Again, thanks all for hanging in there to begin with when I was having some audio issues. But with that, great net, great conversations. Hope to hear you on the air sometime. See you all next week. So with that, this is K1DBC. All stations, please stand by while the repeaters are placed into normal mode.
PL on.
All right, thanks everyone for joining in. Again, on the YouTube, I'm going to be playing this 4-minute video of Youth on the Air by Jerry Ellsworth. Feel free to check that out if you'd like. Hang out. With that, though, this is K1DBC, 7 through to all. I am clear. All right, again, everyone, thanks for hanging out here. Jerry Ellsworth, if you don't know, very cool person, has a lot of experience, electronics, self-taught engineer. So here is a video she put up just a couple days ago.
Hi, I'm Jerry Ellsworth. It's a great honor that I get to speak to you today for Youth on the Air. The reason for that is because ham radio operators have played such a critical role in my life. Ever since I was a young kid, I loved working with technology, anything science, rockets, chemistry, computers, video games, radios. However, I lived in this really small community in rural Oregon where I had very little opportunity to actually get my hands on these pieces of technology. Fortunately for me, there were some ham radio operators in the area that took me under their wing and taught me how to do things like soldering, work with test equipment, work with computers, communicate on radios. And that really set me on a path to do some really exciting things throughout my career and my life. In my teen years, I was very interested in racing cars. And so I went out and I found some other mentors to help teach me how to weld and machine and actually build these big V8 powered cars. But the ham radio operators were always there supporting me. I wanted to add electronics to these cars to make them better, things like telemetry and traction control systems. And so I became quite accomplished, thanks to them, in racing. In my 20s, I decided to open a chain of retail computer stores, and thankfully I had all this experience with working with computers and electronics, but I didn't know how to run a business. So more mentors. I found some folks to teach me how to run a business. And my computer store business was quite successful. In my 30s, I wanted to break into building consumer electronic products. And so I moved to Silicon Valley, started meeting people and getting more mentors and people helping me. Working in technology, you find that there's a lot of ham radio operators, and many of my mentors that have helped me since I moved to Silicon Valley are ham radio operators as well. And so throughout my career doing consumer products, I got to do some really exciting things. Like I got to design half a dozen toys that sold in the millions. I got to work on chips that went into set-top boxes for recording video. I even got to work on the flight system and the radio system for low Earth orbit rockets. I also had the opportunity to live out one of my dreams and go work for a video game company. So a big video game company called Valve Software recruited me. They had me set up a hardware research division to find ways to make games more fun. And so this group that we put together, we researched all kinds of things about video games, and we developed some of the technology. Maybe you've even got a chance to play with it, like virtual reality. After that, I got really excited about augmented reality, the ability to like slip on these glasses and just have this holographic world spring out in front of you that you can directly play with. And so I started my own company called Tilt 5, where we're building augmented reality glasses that you can play games with. Again, throughout all of this, I needed mentors. When I started my business, I needed to find mentors to teach me how to run a tech business. And so I'd encourage you, any chance you get, see if you can find someone to be your mentor. I'm excited to hear you guys on the air, but I'm more excited to hear your stories someday about how mentors helped you do really exciting things in your life.
Hi, aren't you?
All right, everyone. Thanks for hanging out and watching that. Yeah, Jerry Ellsworth, AI62K,
Hi.
incredible person, incredible engineer, good backstory. Has a lot of YouTube presence for quite a while now, so feel free to check her stuff out there. With that, though, I will wrap things up. Thanks again for everyone hanging out. I'll link everything in the chat here and on the groups.io. So with that, again, everyone, thanks for hanging out here, and you take care.
Thank you.